Interest rates are staying put for now, so where do we go from here?
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Amazon Business, helping provide a smarter, easier way to get the supplies businesses need to thrive. Amazon Business, your partner for smart business buying. And by Schwab, helping people invest in ideas they believe in with Schwab investing themes, with more than 40 themes to choose from. More at schwab.com.
From Marketplace, I'm Sabri Benishore in for David Brancaccio. Later today, we will hear how inflation at the wholesale level is doing. Yesterday, we learned from the Labor Department that inflation at the general level, the retail level, had mercifully slowed down in May. The Federal Reserve announced just a couple hours later that it's holding interest rates steady for now. We'll probably cut them one time this year. Marketplace's Nancy Marshall-Genzer was at Fed Chair Jerome Powell's press conference and joins us now live with the details. Hi, Nancy.
Hey, good morning.
So the Fed left interest rates unchanged. No big surprise there. What can we expect for the rest of this year?
We got some hints from a survey the Fed released yesterday. The members of the FOMC, the Federal Open Market Committee, which sets interest rates, they're projecting just one interest rate cut in 2024. Earlier this year, they were predicting 3 cuts. Chair Powell did say that yesterday's CPI numbers for May were better than expected, with prices up 3.3% over last year. But Powell says they'll need to see more good data before being confident enough to actually loosen interest rates.
Changes in rent are one of those things that take a while to work through inflation data, and rent's up more than 5% from a year ago. How big of a problem is that?
Yeah, I asked Powell about that, if that stickiness in the cost of shelter could delay an interest rate cut. He said they're keeping an eye on all prices.
There isn't any one thing, one variable like housing prices moderating that would really decide against what we're doing. We've got an overall test, which is greater confidence that inflation is moving down to 2% on a sustainable basis.
Until then, the Fed will keep rates higher for longer, making it more expensive to borrow and spend in an effort to cool the economy and drive inflation down to its 2% target.
Marketplace's Nancy Marshall-Genzer. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, let's do the numbers. Dow futures are down 0.3%, 118 points. S&P futures are up less than 0.1%. NASDAQ futures up 0.5%. And the yield on the 10-year Treasury is 4.309%.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Progressive. Progressive Commercial Insurance protects small businesses from retailers to tradespeople. Progressive covers a variety of business needs with a range of coverages. More at progressivecommercial.com. And by Autodesk, striving to help the world's designers, engineers, builders, and creators design and make anything. Learn more at autodesk.com.
There were so many long-term trends that the pandemic accelerated. One of them was the disappearance of gay bars. Their numbers have fallen by 45% between 2002 and 2023. But their closing may not be the end of the story. Queer nightlife isn't disappearing. It may just be changing. Amin Ghaziani is a professor of sociology at the University of British Columbia and author of Long Live Queer Nightlife, How the Closing of Gay Bars Sparked a Revolution. Professor Ghaziani, welcome.
Pleasure to be here.
So let's start with this idea of the disappearing gay bar. This comes down to economics that I think are very relatable to a lot of businesses. It's not that they're not viable as a business, it's that they're getting priced out.
Economic factors absolutely matter. In fact, 2 of the most common explanations for why gay bars are closing are both economic, and they include redevelopment. And the second factor is failed lease negotiations due to rent hikes. A lot of us might misconstrue the fact that gay bars are closing because they're not economically viable, and that's not entirely the case. They are commercially viable, but they're not always maximally profitable.
One of the big points that you make in your book is that, yes, the gay bars are disappearing, but something else is taking their place. What is it?
One of the things that I talk about in this book in particular is the greater visibility and variety of underground forms of fellowship called club nights. And these are episodic and event-based nightlife scenes that are effectively moving around with various venues and in various parts of the city. I've been to parties in building basements. I've been to parties in abandoned warehouses, open lots, outdoor raves. They can also partner with existing gay bars. They sometimes partner with straight bars. The fact that they are occasional or temporary gives them an enormous amount of flexibility for what the physical format looks like in ways that we don't see with gay bars that are fixed and located in particular places.
What does this new nightlife mean for A, how people socialize, and B, who can socialize?
Knowing that there's a door you can walk through where you can be yourself and surrounded by others like you is a source of unending power. Now, historically, that power derived from experiencing the gay bar as a refuge from the wider homophobic world. But today, there are people who need a refuge from the refuge. So one study found that 80% of queer Black respondents, 79% of queer Asian respondents, and 75% of queer South Asian respondents reported experiencing racial bias from within LGBTQ plus communities. So this is what makes pop-ups and club nights so vitally important. They create spaces of intentional inclusion in response to the intersectional failures of gay bars.
Do the economics of this new nightlife work better than bars?
I don't think about the economics of these club nights as being better or worse. They're just different. So, for instance, club nights operate using a model that I describe in the book as crack capitalism. In practice, this means something like the provisional use of abandoned or disused spaces. Some club night organizers have learned that they can partner with the developer at low or sometimes no cost to throw events in that space. And that's genius. Some party organizers have begun creating what they call a taxi fund. And the idea here is that you collect donations to help individuals who may be susceptible to rising levels of violence get home safely. And I just think that's wonderful. And it shows an extraordinary amount of collective care that these club night organizers are using. And there are kinds of practices that I've seldom seen gay bars use.
Amin Ghaziani is author of the new book, Long Live Queer Nightlife. He is also Canada Research Chair in Sexuality and Urban Studies at the University of British Columbia. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
In New York, I'm Sabri Ben-Achour with the Marketplace Morning Report. From APM, American Public Media.